Good morning and welcome back to Tabletop Tuesday, where today we're doing a special miniatures review for Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid, a board game from Corvus Belli. Now, this Tag Raid was released from Corvus Belli on Kickstarter in 2021, and it just recently got delivered. I've gone through and I've assembled all of the models, and so I figured post-assembly I'd give you an idea of what they look like, some actual 3D, or not 3D, but like 360 views of the model, so you can see all the sides once they're assembled, and just let me know my thoughts on how it was to get them assembled. But before we get started on that, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop content, whether it's board games, miniatures, role-playing, or anything in between. I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. In addition, down below, there are going to be links to Amazon Drive-Thru RPG. They are affiliate links, but if you choose to use them, it will help out the channel, and we will absolutely appreciate it, whether you use it or not. So, thank you so much for watching, and let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first up we have the Tafeng, which I am probably absolutely butchering the pronunciation, so to anyone who wants to correct me, feel free, but just be aware that I don't speak Chinese at all, and so I probably got it wrong. I admit that up front. This is the tag for UA Minerals, essentially the Yuqing faction of Tag Raid, and honestly, I think this is one of the better figures in the line. I did happen to read a small snippet about the model. Basically, it is based on a combat tag, and so it does look very much like it would fit into a regular game of Infinity, even though it's got additional things like mining lights, the mining backpack, the rock drill, things like that. But otherwise, it very much does look like one of the regular tags you would find for the Yuqing faction. You have the typical look of the Yuqing, or not the Yuqing, but most tags, where you'll have the arms of the pilot sticking out in addition to the arms of the tag itself. You can see the artificial muscles there kind of on the back of the legs and the buttocks area, but overall it's a good, solid, beefy mech. The only thing I have done to this, there was no assembly required, but I did add a little bit of sand to the base because of how I plan on basing these for the board game. Normally I'll just paint a model black for a board game, but because all of this does essentially operate in a dirt, deserty kind of area, I figured I'd just go ahead and put a little bit of sand on there to make it blend in a little bit better. But overall, I like the model. I like the big drill, which is big and unwieldy and kind of sticks out, but it won't have any negative impact on playing the game itself. So that is the Tafeng tag. All right, now here we have the Prospector. For each faction, there are 5 additional models in addition to the tag, and this one represents, another one of the miners. For the UA Minerals Prospector, they kind of split the difference between just like a regular sized human and the exoskeleton that you saw in the Mines Corp Prospector. So it's a little bit smaller, but it still is a bit beefier. It has the look of like a heavy infantry or almost a tag in and of itself, but it's got a really nice pose to it. It was not too difficult to put together. I believe it was 2 pieces on the torso and legs, and then the 2 arms. But this one, I did not have a whole lot of complaints getting it put together. There is one coming soon that I absolutely detested, but I'll let you know that. But overall, I like the look of the model. You know, heavy armor, you know, definitely looks like it can take some damage, and so it's going to be fun to play with. So that is the Prospector. All right, next up we have the Engineer. Basically, this is going to be your tag mechanic for the game. Again, Infinity really does nice poses for their models, and this is no exception. Uh, you know, he looks like a mechanic. He's, you know, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to add. It's just a good looking model. Um, just a couple of pieces for the arms to be glued on. But overall, you know it looks nice. It's a decent pose. Biggest complaint I would have about this guy is that the sculpt does not match the art on the card. On the card, it's very, the figure is standing very upright. So this was one of the ones that was a little bit more difficult for me to identify specifically, without having to go to the book. But overall, it's a good figure, and yeah, it's the Engineer. So, all right, and here we have the Hacker. Basically, this is the model that you're going to use to steal your opponent's tag and use it against them. Another case of the sculpt not matching the art on the character card. But overall, I do like the model. I like that she's running. It's a good pose. It was I think it was just the two arms to glue. Oh no, it was the two arms and her upraised leg that need to be glued on. But overall, they went on just fine. I did have to use some accelerant, but again, that's fine. I don't have any issues doing that. But otherwise, yeah, she went together just fine, and looks good on her base. So that is the Hacker. All right, now this is the Hunter, and this is the model that I had literally the biggest problem with of all of the models for Tag Raid. Not counting the giant beasts, who I'm mostly concerned because I don't know how I will store them once they are assembled, but they're also just a couple of pieces. But she had so many pieces, they did not want to stay glued. The hands on the sword don't quite match up. The hair is a very tiny pin that does not want to stay glued in. The hilt of the sword is very thin, so it's easy to bend. Basically, I tried bending her arm where it's connected at the shoulder joint on the right. It's sort of, imagine like you have to like cut the arm out, and so there's like a round gouge in her shoulder, and then you have to just slide that whole thing in. But then the way that the metal is positioned, it isn't positioned quite properly to match up with there were so many things that made this model not want to stay together that honestly I am not sure how it is in one piece. It looks fun. I am so nervous to paint it because I am assuming that something is going to break off. So this will probably be one of the last models that I paint, if I paint it at all. Probably will not use much in the way of dry brush techniques, just because I will be afraid of snapping something off. It's a neat model. I just wish it had executed better. And I'm honestly not even sure that that's possible. I think a different design would have been better in the long run, just as far as playability goes. because I'll be honest, I don't even want to play with her on the field, just because I feel that she will break anyways. So it it's kind of disappointing. This literally, out of all uh, 28 models that I had to assemble, um, this is the one that I literally hated trying to get assembled. So keep that in mind. The nice thing about the Hunters is that they were only part of the Platinum Exclusives pack. So if you're buying this on the secondary market and you're not getting a Platinum edition, you won't have access to the Hunters. But regardless, Corvus Belli could have done better with the UA Minerals Hunter. So that's that. All right, and finally we have MIL1K1, the UA Minerals Miner Bot. This is one of two that looks like a dog. The other one being the faction that's aligned with the Combined Army. But this one is much more robotic, whereas the other one is more like an alien dog beast thing. But regardless, this one, it was actually very easy to put together. It was just two pieces, a right side and a left side. So just glue them together and you're good to go. Not a bad pose. I do like that it's turned a little bit, so the head is turning to the right. It was a little difficult because there were a couple of pegs on the rear foot, and so trying to find a good spot on the base because what I would do is I would drill holes for drills and cut holes in the bases the size of the tabs on the feet, so that I had something that would slot into the base. So getting these, like the others, most of them would actually, there's a cross piece underneath the base, and most figures actually would line up and fit in that cross piece somewhere. This one did not. It had to go off to the side. So simple trick on that: put a little bit of paint onto your posts, put that onto the base, and then you know where to drill your spots. And so that's what I did, and he came out great. So that is MIL1K1. All right, and so that is UA Minerals. Honestly, I know I'm being kind of harsh on this particular faction, but I have to be. The Hunter, while it's a good-looking model, and let's be honest, pretty much all models out of Corvus Belli are good-looking models, they need to remember that they also need to be playable. Tiny joints, like at the wrists on that sword, especially tiny joints to hold large items, just don't allow a model to be playable. I would honestly rather proxy it out with a token or something else as opposed to actually using the miniature. Because I don't even though it's my model, I don't trust myself to play with it. The rest of the models are fine. They look very good. They capture the Yu-Ching feel, and I think that's great. But that Hunter alone is very, very disappointing, and will probably put UA Minerals to the bottom of the pile as far as getting painted for me. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please do give it a like and make sure you share it with people that you know who might be interested. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we will talk to you next time.